What's up, everyone? Hitting y'all up with another little video. June 25th, 2019. We're looking at a Chevrolet Camaro 1996. This one has the 3.8 V6, not the V8. Originally came in with a blown radiator hose. Upper radiator hose blew out. So we're going to be replacing the lower and upper hose. Went ahead and removed the radiator. Took the water hose to it, flushed it out real good. Radiator's not cracked. Did have some leaves and stuff in it. Cleaned all that out. If you look inside the radiator, see if I can get you a good look inside of there. And that's after hitting it with the water hose pretty good. Like, I've been hitting this thing for a minute with the water hose, and I can't get all that out. I may hit it up tomorrow with some other stuff that I have. Hose down the AC condenser too. On both sides. On the back side had a bunch of leaves and stuff in it too. What I like about the front nose, these things got a big nose on these. But what I like about it, even though I don't like those headlights at all, I like this about the front nose. See this air dam, how all the air gets up in there? So all that air will come under the bumper, get sucked up in there. It really doesn't suck air through the front grille. There is no front grille. It sucks it all up through there. And you have this plastic cover to keep it all from coming up here. You don't want it coming up here. You want it all to stay focused this way. Now, that's the AC condenser, and then it'll flow. Obviously, the radiator will be attached to it, so it'll flow through the condenser and the radiator that way. And as you can see, it's kind of tilted. It's not up straight, so you get good airflow through there. This car is leaking from the heater core, so I'm gonna have to get in here and do a heater core bypass. Pretty much put a 90-degree elbow in between those two hoses, so it just loops back around and doesn't go into the heater core. Not long ago, you can tell they did the water pump. You can see the new hose clamps and everything. They did the water pump, so we're not gonna mess with that. It was leaking. It was pretty covered in oil under here, and I sprayed it all down with brake cleaner. Most of it came out. Might spray it a little more tomorrow, see if I can get it a little better than this, but got it all sprayed up, cleaned up. That rack and pinion oil pan is also wet underneath. Maybe spray that up too. This is where the thermostat sits on these 3 point. Did I say 4.3? I'm used to those 4.3 vortex. This is a 3.8. Oh, say it right at the top of the engine. I work on a lot of little trucks and they come with the V6 4.3. So this is the 3.8. And you can see what the inside of that's like. So there's a bolt on the side of the engine block that I'm also going to drain. I already ran the water hose through there to help flush anything out. I'm not trying to make the engine look new. I'm just trying to get any clumps of anything out before I put the radiator and the hoses back in it. Now, the customer said that when they did the water pump, it seemed that the head gasket might have been a little bit compromised, and they went ahead and removed the thermostat. So, taking the customer's word for it, I was under the impression it didn't have a thermostat in it. When I went to pull it, because I like to confirm for myself, I can't just trust what the customer says. Not that the customer would lie, but the customer could have been lied to. So this is the radiator cap, and it was covered in gunk, and I cleaned it all up. And then this is your thermostat housing, and you can see they were running a lot of water through here. There's a lot of oxidation inside of that. And then this is the thermostat housing. All this is going to get grinded off, clean surface. And if you notice, I cut the spring of the thermostat out. I cut its guts out. I cut the guts out of it to leave it hollow through. Why? This is what they should have done. Supposedly the customer was under the impression they had already done this, but there was a thermostat here, this thermostat, and it wasn't gutted out. The core of the thermostat was in it, and it looked very gunky, very dirty, very rusty. And I put it in boiling water to see if it would open with a thermometer in there, and it wasn't opening. It was a little stuck. And I dropped it in without cleaning it, all gunky. And turned the water dirty, dumped the water back out, knocked it around, cleaned it up a little bit, sprayed it with brake cleaner, threw it back in the water. Boiling water, new, fresh boiling water. It finally opened. Took a little bit for it to open, but... So I'm under the impression that this thermostat was sticking. It was struggling to open. So I went ahead and gutted it open. And I'm going to be installing it like this, so it'll have a gasket. We cut the center out, and it'll be free flowing, but it'll still have a gasket. And so here's the new thermostat. I'll give you an example of what it should look like. So this is what the thermostat should look like. And as you can see, I cut it there, cut it there, cut it there, and gutted it out. So I have a brand new thermostat to put in it, but I don't want to put the new thermostat in it. I'll tell you why. That radiator, the car was overheating. It blew the radiator hose. Wasn't overheating bad, but it was overheating, and it blew the hole through the radiator hose. Granted, that was an old hose, but she was told when they did the water pump and the car overheated then that the head gasket was hurt, and that the thermostat was gutted and pulled out for that reason. Apparently they lied to her because it had a full thermostat in it, like this one, not cut. So I went ahead and bought this. I've never used it before, and we'll see. I don't believe such thing as a mechanic in a bottle, but I've seen a lot of other good YouTube videos, a lot of good reviews on it. Haven't seen anybody really saying it doesn't work. The key thing from everybody that's talking about this on YouTube is you have to pour it for a minute, real slow. The instructions are on it. Read them yourself. I mean, they're pretty easy to understand. And you don't need to be a certified mechanic to read these instructions, understand it, and do it properly. But it's a money-back guarantee deal, and the quick version of the instructions is you pour it real slow. It should take you a minute to pour the whole bottle. If this was a V8, we would need 2 of these bottles, but it's a V6, so 1 bottle will do it. A 4-cylinder would use like half the bottle, I think. But we're going to use the whole bottle. We're going to take 1 minute to pour it nice and slow. The engine must be cold, meaning it sat overnight. The next morning, engine's cold. Not warm, cold. And obviously you drain just enough coolant for this bottle to pour into. 16 ounces of coolant you want to drain out if it's already full. And if your radiator's dirty, you want to get the gunk out of it before you use this product, like what I'm doing. Take a minute, pour it in slow with the engine idling, heater on full blast. It won't matter for me because I'm gonna be bypassing the heater anyways. But heater on full blast, engine idling, open the radiator cap, pour that in for 1 minute slow, then seal the radiator cap and let it idle for another 50 minutes. So if your engine cannot idle for 50 minutes without overheating, this product is no good to you. If your engine can idle for 50 minutes without overheating, this product will probably work for you. I'm gonna put a brand new Wix oil filter on it, and I'm gonna change the oil in it. I'm not gonna put nothing fancy in it because we're just testing it. So we're just doing Orileys brand 10W40. I will be putting some Dex Cool, and this is full strength. I can use distilled water. I don't need to buy a pre-mixed gallon. And it'll have fresh coolant in it. It'll have the cut thermostat. It'll have fresh oil filter. We'll do that just as I expect.